guys, welcome to this week's video blog. This is a special Valentine's Day edition, not directed towards people in couples. This is for people who are in a single period of life. Being single, we tend to teeter-totter between a couple different emotions around Valentine's Day. One is self-pity, where, oh, poor me, I don't have a Valentine, everybody feels sorry for me. And then two is bitter and resentful towards people who are in a relationship, towards couples, people who are married, whatever. So we teeter-totter between self-pity and resentment. Neither are good. Both end in really weird, kind of rude Facebook statuses around this time of year. So we're going to look at 1 Corinthians 7, verses 32 through 35. I want you to be free from anxieties. The unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord, but the married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife. And his interests are divided. And the unmarried woman or betrothed woman is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to be holy in body and spirit, but the married woman is anxious about her husband and how to please him. I say this for your own benefit, not to lay any restraint upon you, but to promote good order and secure your undivided devotion to the Lord. So this passage of scripture is talking about how sometimes we are in relationships, whether it is a marriage relationship or now a dating relationship, and they can be distracting. We can be distracted by that person. And being single is a great time to focus all of your energy, all of your strength, all of your love on the Lord, and make him your proverbial Valentine. The second thing I want to talk about is the gift of singleness. This is something that I think as college students we rarely consider, but is something that is very real. So this gift is just God calling you to a life where you are single. And this, I want to make sure that this is clear. It's not better or worse than being married. They are equal in God's eyes, but God calls us all to do different things, and some of us are called to be married, and some of us aren't. So that's just something that we should all be praying about and asking the Lord what he wants for our lives. The second set of scripture on that is Matthew 19:11, but he said to them, not everyone can receive this saying, but only those to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who have been eunuchs from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have been made themselves eunuchs, for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let the one who is able to receive this receive it. So he's saying not everybody has this gift, but if you do have this gift, if you are able to receive it, then do so with joy and contentedness. Another thing I want to talk about is a phrase that I just made up. It's called intentional singality, and this is something that God has personally called me to within this last year of my life. I went through a period where I was determined to find my future husband, and I dated a couple of really great guys, but they weren't for me, and it ended badly because I was just so set on, is this the guy I'm going to marry? And we dated for 2 weeks. So after that period was over, I was on a missions trip in San Francisco, and one night I just really felt God tugging on my heart to spend time being intentionally single, and I did so for the next 6 months. Not to say that there weren't stumbling blocks along the way, but for the majority of the time, I really just took that 6 months to focus on God. And let me tell you something, I grew closer to God in that 6 months than I have ever been to him in my entire life. So it's something that I want to throw out there as an option. I don't necessarily think that it's for everyone. I know some people are 20 years old and have found the love of their lives, and they're going to have amazing, godly marriages. And then there's people like me who just kind of needed a slap on the head by God to really focus on him. And to be honest, I took an intentional 6 months, but at this point in my life, I really don't feel like God has called me out of that. So I'd like to kind of define what I mean by being intentionally single, because people have two general responses to this idea. One is, well, I'm single, so I'm going to say that I'm intentionally single, but I'm still seeking out relationships, and if a relationship wanders up, if I meet the guy or girl of my dreams, then I'm not going to be intentionally single anymore. That's not exactly how it works, because that intentional part is missing. This is something, for me, I had to set a time limit on it because I'm very goal oriented, and so I need like a goal to attain, and I need a time limit. So I put 6 months on it. That 6 months has really transitioned into a year for me. But it is a time where you're very intentional. And I mean, like, no flirting, watch your eye contact, be careful of how touchy-feely you are with the opposite sex, things like that. You have to be very intentional about the messages that you're sending to people. So that's what I mean by making it intentional, that it is actually intentional, that it's not just like, oh, well, I'm just going to say this because that's, I don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, so we'll just say that I'm intentionally single. That's not what I mean. I mean that it is a very intentional thing, and that when people walk into your life and try to disrupt that, you shut that down and you turn that away. It probably doesn't sit very well with some of you, but that's fine. Like I said, it's not for everybody. The second response that I usually get is a what if response. This tends to come more from girls than it does from guys. This response is, well, what if the person of my dreams comes into my life during this time, during this period? And this one kind of makes me smile, because if this is the right person for you, if this is the person that you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with or whatever, they can wait. Because you're in a time where your number one focus is God, and if anybody is going to come into that time and disturb it or distract you from that, it's not, first of all, it's not the right person, because the right person should be pulling you closer to God. But secondly, it's not worth it, because let me tell you something, ladies especially, God is worth more than any guy. Any guy on this world, God is worth more. And God should be your number one focus, whether you're in a time of singleness or not. He should always be at the center of your heart and at the center of your thoughts. So I hope that you just kind of take that and marinate on it a little bit, pray about it. If God calls you to do something like that, I would really encourage it. I'd love if you have any questions about what that looked like for me and how God used that time, I would love to answer that. But I really just hope that this is encouraging towards single people, because singleness isn't a curse, it's a gift, and it's a time that we can just use to focus everything that we have, all of our hearts, all of our minds, all of our souls, on God, and make Him our Valentine during this season of the year, because the season isn't about necessarily couples or singles, it's about love. And regardless of what that love looks like for you, I know for me it's a vertical love, not a horizontal love right now. So I hope that that's encouraging, and I hope that Valentine's Day is one that can be celebrated by all people, whether you are single or in a relationship. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.